Edwards off the lane. Puts it back down to Edwards. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won. Right now, and they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Riley Williams. Goes to the free. Touchdown.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome into the next edition of the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. It is Brendan and Trevor tonight, and we are rolling along, Trev, with the Big Ten previews. And USC, you are on deck, baby. A lot of people talking about this team and some hype here. So we're going to see if we feel the same way. Trev, it's good to talk about a big program like this, and obviously their move into the Big Ten went all right. It could have been better. But we're going to talk some, 2024 before we get into, what we see in 2025. That's just kind of what we do here. And guys, welcome in. We appreciate your time. Of course, here it is schedule-wise. Obviously you guys know what you did, fans of USC, but again, this is for people that just coming in, checking it out, people, fans of other teams. When you look at this, great start, obviously beating LSU, and LSU's one that they've been taking it, man, in the first couple of weeks of the season now, recently. And they've got a tough one in 25 too, but that's beside the point. You go out and, after that bye week in Ann Arbor, that tough loss, man, that obviously we're Michigan fans. You see Trev, but god dang, man, that was a crazy game.
That was a crazy
the way
game.
that finished. You go out and you beat down Wisconsin and that was a really interesting game too. And then it's like all these one-score losses. I swear to God, it's like I was looking at Nebraska's fucking schedule here, with how many one-score losses they've had. But you go out, the Minnesota game, tough loss there. Penn State in overtime, brutal loss. Maryland, 1 point. I mean, it just it could not get over the hump. At Washington's the same, and then Notre Dame at the end of the season. So some things that you can build on there. But still, it's like you just got to get over that hump. Well, there's some things, moving on from there. You had a 23rd offense in 24 and the 77th defense. So that's where you really need to amplify this season. And we're going to talk all about that, Trev. Before we get into, coaching staff, some numbers real quick. Returning production, they bring in 50% returning production on this season. SP Plus has you as a 30th rated team, or like the best, hardest team to play in the country, and your strength of schedule sitting at 20th, according to the S&P Plus numbers from Bill Conley. So those are just a couple numbers to throw your way. Trev, let's look at the coaching staff, buddy.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Lincoln Riley, what's he doing? What's
he's making he made a few changes. Obviously, just like a lot of other big schools, they brought in a general manager, Chad Bowden. And look, I mean, at the end of the day, almost every big school is going to have a general manager. It's just the way the world is. These are semi-pro teams now, not just college universities, and universities. But the one that I got the most entertainment out of is that good old long-haired Rob Ryan. Is the new assistant head coach for the defense and linebackers coach, is the official title. As most of you know, if any of you are Brendan and I's age or older, you know who Rob Ryan is 35 years experience. His first 35 years in coaching experience, he's did 24 seasons in the NFL. I mean, the guy has been defensive coordinator or head coach for a lot of different teams in the NFL. And look, at the end of the day, he's got a lot of experience. And whether what you think about Rob Ryan or not, the guy knows he has coached plenty of really good defenses, good enough to have people put him as a head coach at other places. So look, the guy knows what he's talking about, knows what he's doing. I think it's a really good hire for the linebacking group and also the defense as a whole, having that amount of knowledge and experience to be in the room with the other defensive coaches and players. It should benefit them. it should benefit them.
I agree.
And let's be honest, USC, you need help at the defense.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to be hateful, or I'm not hating on you guys. It's just defense has been a problem. And you guys need to start getting stops, when important stops. You're not going to be able to stop everybody. The Big Ten is littered with very good quarterbacks and wide receivers and running backs and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to stop and slow them down when it matters. And I think that Rob Ryan will be able to do that.
I agree, Trev.
So yeah, and then they brought in a couple other guys. Trovon. I thought that was an A. It's an O. Trovon Reed as a cornerback coach. Chad Savage as an inside wide receivers and tight ends coach. And then they also brought in a couple other guys. Sean Nua, who formerly was a Michigan defensive line coach. He was the interim co-defensive coordinator, and he has been retained as the defensive ends coach. So I think he's a great keep for Riley. I think he was a good coach over at Michigan. He was the defensive line coach from 2019 to 2021, 2022 season. So yeah. Those are some of the other additions. They're not all of them, but there were some more position coaches that were moved around. But all in all, I think Lincoln Riley hopefully has the coaching setup that he wants now.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I feel like that the coaching just isn't there at USC like it usually is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like there's been some, shuffling around, but I think really last year was a step in the right direction in hiring Lynn as at D coordinator. And clearly it made a jump from the 2023 defensive stats, which was rated in the hundreds.
It was bad.
In total defense. And then last year, the number, 77. So, I mean, there's a good jump right there. But there's still, pieces that you need to add. But, I mean, your USC, you should be able to do this, rather quickly on the turnaround with the talent that you can just recruit in California alone. And then with the name brand that you lay on the table when you slap that thing down. So Trev, we're going to talk some portal real quick, because that's part of bringing this talent in. Not just
I'm going to slap it down, boy.
Slapping it, just smack it up, flip it, rope down. It's
Lord.
USC. I know I'm fucked up, but either way, blame that on the Garrison brothers. But when we talk about getting this thing turned around, the portal helps very much so in that, even though you guys recruit really well. The portal side of it, 17th in the nation. You brought in 27 leave. And I'll say that is really impressive because it's a smaller class compared to others that we've seen, but the quality is there to have you rated that high on the transfer board. So 17th with only 16 people coming in, that's a nice class. And you're bringing in guys that I think fit the need for what this team has, had holes in. A couple of the key guys, Silver on the defensive line, DJ Harvey, Wingfield and Reed, both on the offensive line, crucial to what you're trying to do this season, and that's get to the Big Ten championship. I know, 7-6 last year, but you guys have aspirations for national championships. Like let's not kid ourselves. We know what USC wants to do again. It's time. Lincoln's he's got the roster to try and push it, he thinks. So with the portal class coming in, a couple of those key guys, you did lose some big ones that I wrote down. Bo Wright Jr., Pregnon, Zach Branch going to Georgia. That sucks. Mason Murphy, another guy that sucks to lose. But I mean, you guys got players up and down this transfer board. Trevor, what are you seeing on it, man? I mean, they got some D linemen, O linemen, that things you like to see.
Yeah, I love to see it. I love to see the two defensive linemen that stuck out to me. It was Jamal Jarrett and Keyshawn Silver, obviously. One from Kentucky, the other one Jarrett from Georgia. 6'5", 350, 6'4", 336. I mean, these guys are massive bodies that can be in the center of your defense and really command attention from the offensive line. Absolutely. So which could open up an opportunity for your edge rushers, linebackers to get in there and disrupt the quarterback. And overall, I love the portal class, but these three defensive pickups, excuse me, Jamal Jarrett, Keyshawn Silver, and then DJ Harvey from San Jose State, I think are all going to be massive pickups that could potentially make an impact. Now, that being said, it is USC, and they do recruit well too. So we could be talking about a couple freshmen that are making an impact on the D line, or we could talk about potential quarterback controversy. Instead of Maeva, it's the 5-star recruit in Longstreet, or or Heward somehow gets his name into the mix. I don't know. Who knows? But I overall like their offensively. Obviously, their offensive line. They got a few good offensive linemen, plus the recruiting class, which I'll go over after Brendan does his thoughts on their transfer portal overall.
Yeah, man, I like the class. I really do. Cornerbacks, you got guys coming in from UCF, Penn State linebackers, 6'3", 231. Safety coming over from Notre Dame. Wide receivers from big body wide receivers. We're going to talk all about that here, Trev. Let's just go ahead and fucking jump into this offense.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because a lot of these, we mentioned the portal. We look at it. There's obviously organic pieces too. The portal is important to plug holes, but this offense, maybe it is the young, quarterback steps up, but it seems like it's Jaden Maeva's show. And
it probably is. I don't think. I mean, if
but we'll
I don't
see.
know.
I mean,
Who knows? I mean, Lincoln Riley kind of moves to his own beat as far as when it comes to picking a quarterback. Yeah. So sometimes unconventional, but sometimes he's pretty stubborn about when he picks a quarterback, he sticks with it.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Jaden, he stepped in last year, and this is kind of where I have concerns, and I think the guy is talented. Mm-hmm. I think Maeva is a talented player. However, I see an interception problem. In a short span of games, he had 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 59% completion percentage. I want to see that number. It's pretty close to 60. That's fine. I want to see it get a little bit higher on the completion percentage. The interception shit, that's got to go down. Bowl game against Texas A&M, he threw 3. He threw 2 against Notre Dame. I mean, that cannot happen against the best defenses that you played. Even Nebraska, you had an interception there. Now picks are going to happen. I'm not stupid. I know that happened, but it's just controlling it. Now, right. He did throw against Nebraska, 71% completion. That's good. 259 on, and then he has some running ability as well. But I mean, maybe can that be incorporated more into this season? We'll see. But really, in my opinion, if you're leaning on him, you're hoping that there is a jump with him getting all the number 1 reps for the whole off season and getting into the scheme a little bit more. Second year into it, we'll see how that improves. The offensive line, Trev, we mentioned some of the additions up there. That's going to be massive for getting this run game going, taking pressure off of Maeva and just letting him have some comfort in the pocket. We mentioned Reed. We mentioned Wingfield. You got Page still, on the roster. So there's talent on the up front. You've recruited pretty well. It's just how quickly does that front 5 mesh? I think it's going to be all right. Wide receiver, you lost a lot of big names there. Going to Georgia and all these other places, but you brought in talent and size. The size, really, Trevor, is what is impressive to me on some of these wide receivers. Prince Strachan, I think that's how it's pronounced. 6'5", 211. I mean, god dang, man. That's a huge body. Zach Williams, 6'2", coming over from Utah. So you got big bodies to throw to. McCree, Lemon, those are guys that have been there. Lane as well. I don't know, man. I think this offense is going to be all right, Trev. It just depends on, to me, if he can settle down on the quarterback position and not throw many picks. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I completely agree. The wide receiver position, honestly, I've never really worried about USC's wide receiver position.
Yeah, that's
No,
like,
normally they always. I mean, I don't want to say they're wide receiver you necessarily, but they have always had really talented wide receivers. Whether or not they do anything with them, that's beside the point. They've always had talent at the wide receiver position. And that being said, the running back position, they've always had a pretty decent rotation of really talented running backs.
yeah,
That I've never really worried about that ever with USC going back well before Lincoln Riley.
yeah,
My biggest concern is the offensive line, and this season is a season where it's a make or break thing for Lincoln Riley, in my opinion. You need to make a considered effort to be in the top echelon of the Big Ten, not the bottom.
yeah.
And
Even middle.
even the middle, like having a semi-successful season. But that being said, the fan base for USC, it is, you better be in the playoff. Like
They're
that is the
hungry.
expectation at USC.
They're hungry, man.
And I mean, they did help themselves in the recruiting side of things with, obviously, like I mentioned, Hussein Longstreet out of California, 6'1.5", 195, top 40 player, top 4 at the position of quarterback. He's a 5-star recruit, but they got a defensive lineman that's a top 100 player, 6'6", 270, who could also be a benefit. They also picked up 2 offensive linemen that are also in the top 200 of their thing. And these guys are not small kids. They're 6'5", 265, and 167.5, 290 pounds. Aaron Dunn out of Utah.
Yeah.
Like these kids, well, sorry, these young men, they ain't kids, but I mean, they are to me, really. But I mean, they're young and they're definitely men. These young guys will definitely be able to make an impact if they pick up the offense and pick up the. Now, Brendan, I'm curious to see, like, what is your opinion on, like, what does Maeva have to do for Lincoln Riley to make a change? Do you think that's even a possibility this season?
I don't know, man. I think he's just going to ride it. I mean, obviously, you got the young quarterback that's talented behind him, and then you also brought in, quarterback in the portal from,
from
Utah.
Yeah, Sam Heward.
Heward. At least he's got some reps, under his belt. But
yeah,
I think it's Maeva's show to run with, and whatever happens. I mean, last year, you got rid of Miller Moss, which I thought he was a good quarterback myself.
I thought he did too. I thought I would have hung on to him and
but I mean,
let him.
Like you said, I mean, hey, Lincoln, he's played, he knows his quarterbacks, so he's got a feeling on Jaden, and if it goes down the way he expects it, they are going to be on the cusp of a playoff or in it. It just, I mean, it would have to be so bad, like so many turnovers early.
Or if he just gets beat out.
Or
I mean, you never know. The 5-star youngster might just be like, "Hey, this is my show," and
I mean, that's very well possible. And you never know.
There is a small possibility that is the season of the first-year starters.
Dude, this year for sure is
there's a small possibility that this is just the year for the first years, just to ball out.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see what this offense. I think it's going to move. Just how far. Again, last year was 23rd in the country, and then I think the offensive line will be an improvement. Just how quickly do they get that that mesh, and then also on the halfback. I don't think we mentioned that. You lost some talent there. You did.
Yeah.
But like Trevor mentioned, I don't really worry about the skill positions at USC. It's just, you got guys coming in from the recruiting side. Jordan's back there. And then Eli Sanders coming over from the portal. He played really well at New Mexico. So I think you're going to be just fine. Defensively, Trev, this is where we need to see another big jump. Like we mentioned earlier, the 2023 jump to 24 was impressive. That was a lot in part to the defensive coordinator that you stole from your rival in UCLA, which I love. That's a ballsy ass move. Love that shit. How far can they push this season? And we mentioned the interior line
is going to be improved. I have no doubt in my mind it will be improved.
you look at the schedule again from 2024 and all those one-loss games. Michigan, if you could have stopped the goddamn run, that's a win. I mean, Michigan, they couldn't throw a fucking forward pass. And we're Michigan fans. Look, we could not throw for shit last year.
It was horrid.
And they still were able to run it down your throat, right up the gut. I mean, it was honestly from outside looking, it's fucking embarrassing, type of loss. And I'm not trying to be rude, not trying to be. That's just a fact. I would say the same thing if Michigan's getting run over like that. So then, you look at this year and what you bring in from the portal. Lincoln knows that you have got to stop the run. So what's he do? He goes and gets big time names out of the portal to shore up the gaps, and then you're recruiting well too. So I think the defensive line is going to be good. I want to see more consistency, maybe in the pass rush and getting after these guys, but I think that'll be all right.
I think you can fix the pass rush by just solidifying your secondary.
Yeah,
and coverage sacks are going to be a thing this year.
Yeah,
for USC, I think if you only rush your 4 guys and you just concentrate on locking down the receivers that you're playing against, I think you will get pressure. I just think the problem was that they were just getting open far too fast.
Yeah,
for your defensive line to get to anybody.
And again, if there's no push in the middle, if you can't rush 4, you're going to have a problem.
Yep.
It's just that's just the fact of the big time ball. But I mean, some of the guys up front, Braylon Shelby, he's back. Fountain on the edge. Anthony Lucas is a guy. I think there's the pieces are there. It's just, can you actually do it? You got to get over the hump, and what's going to push you forward. My biggest question, I think, on the defense is the linebacker core, and because you lost your top tacklers from last season, it's how does the guys from last year, like the rotational pieces, step up? What about anything from the portal? Robinson coming over, mentioned him from Penn State. How quickly does he get in the game, or where does he have factor in? And then the guys you've recruited, the organic pieces. What are you feeling, Jeff?
The linebackers.
Obviously, the coaching, Rob Ryan's gonna be fine.
It should improve the linebacker play a bit. At least the knowledge base and just overall play recognition will help. Ryan will help with a lot of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be the defense. And speaking of the defense handling the Big Ten schedule, why don't we roll over into the 2025 schedule?
Yeah, we'll pop it up.
Talk about a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, and just one more guy that I don't think we mentioned yet before you jump in is Fitzgerald, another guy, safety coming over from NC State. I think that'll be important. The back end, like you mentioned, coverage sacks, I think it's going to be there. We'll see. I like a lot. I feel very optimistic talking about this team. It's crazy. Let's look at the schedule, Trev. All right, pull it up on my end. Sorry, there's a damn ad fucking thing popping up. All right, here we go. Look at this schedule, guys. Look at this schedule. Trev, what are you feeling?
5-0 to start.
The over-under is 7.5.
5-0 to start.
Ooh, calling the shot early. 5-0 start. Dude, that would set up a potential massive game.
Yes.
Ooh, boy.
Massive back-to-back game.
Absolutely.
So the question is, if you go 5-0 and coming out of the bye week, do you have a letdown game against Michigan by looking towards Notre Dame for payback from last year? Or do you focus? That's a tough back-to-back. If you're coming out of that first 5-game stretch at 5-0, that is stressful back-to-back weekend. But you do get Michigan in California, which is great.
Yeah,
that's great for you guys. But then you got to go travel to the Notre Dame Stadium
in a night game,
and it's a night game. Yep, on Peacock.
We were just talking about it.
We were just talking about that. Freaking Peacock.
Whatever. I don't even want to say it. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So I honestly don't know how I feel about this 2-game stretch. I really don't. I don't know if they can. If we'll just say you're going to go 1-1 in this 2-game stretch. Who you win against, it doesn't matter. But I think you go 1-1.
You're looking at top defenses in the country in this too.
Back to back.
Michigan is going to be up there again. That's a top 20 unit on defense.
Notre Dame reloaded again this year as far as recruiting class, transfer portal, and just retaining a lot of their returning starters.
The biggest question for both those teams, though, young quarterbacks.
Young quarterbacks. That's right.
So there's
pressuring the quarterback will be key.
Yep.
Making them make decisions. I think that you can come out of that weekend after your next bye week, which actually is a really big benefit to USC. Yeah. You have to play those 2 big games and then you get a week off.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then you can go into, and I think you can rattle off 3 more wins. So I have you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have you at 9 wins by November 15th.
Man.
And then there's Oregon.
It's another one, though.
It's in Eugene, Autzen Stadium. That's a tough place to play. I don't care what anyone says. In my opinion, it's one of the toughest stadiums to play in all the country. I don't think it gets its day in court, as some say, or they don't. As far as public opinion goes, I feel like it's an underviewed as far as toughest stadiums to play in. You know, a lot of the East Coast and Southeast Conference stadiums get this big recognition for being so tough. Yeah. But I think Autzen Stadium is one of the toughest ones to play in. Yeah. So I think that's a loss, honestly, being away at Autzen. So I have you at 9-2 there. I 10-2. I'll say 10-2.
Is that your ceiling? Like
that's 10-2 accurately. Like, so I'm pretty accurate. I feel like that's like calling my shot. I think 9-3 is the low ball.
Yeah.
With the way this schedule is set up, because you don't play Ohio State, you don't play Penn State, or you will. I mean, if you make it to the championship game, you'll play one of those guys. And honestly, you don't have to play. God, who else is not on here? Wisconsin's not on here.
Yeah, no, Penn State. Unless I'm blind.
Yeah, Penn State. Yeah, I'm not seeing Penn State. I'm not seeing Ohio State. I'm not seeing Wisconsin. You have Illinois, but you shouldn't worry about them too much.
I think they're really, yeah. I don't know, man.
Worst case, I think it's a 3-loss season, 9-3. But I think honestly, you should be. I think 9-3 should be your floor, in my opinion. 9-3 should be the floor.
So I'll be a little more bearish on that.
Okay.
So when I look at this, I still think Illinois is going to be a strong team, especially after what they have returning, and how they finished last year beating South Carolina. But when I see that Michigan State's going to be an interesting one to see how they improve. We just did their previews, guys. If you want to see any of these teams, go check out our YouTube, by the way, or podcast sites. Any of these episodes are on there. We've done previews for all of these teams. So go check it out if you're curious what we think. And then, Michigan State will be an interesting one. Depends on their offense. Illinois, I think, is going to be good. Michigan, Notre Dame, both young quarterbacks. How does that play out? Nebraska, they've got some pretty good roster there. It's going to be in Lincoln. Northwestern might be a wild card with Preston Stone actually trying to lead that offense, so they have a quarterback that can actually pass. Yeah. And then Iowa too. Iowa is a very tough defense every year. Like Phil Parker is a fantastic defensive coordinator. They've finally got a quarterback that they like. If they can throw, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And then Oregon is one that I'm a little bit lower on just because I don't trust Dante Moore yet. I need to see it. A lot of people are buying the hype. They're saying, oh, they're another team. They're going to contend for the national title again. They could. I'm not saying they can't. I just need to see it. But when I look at floor, if everything goes poorly, you lose to Illinois, you lose to Michigan, Notre Dame, Iowa, Oregon. So I'd say a 7-5 season would be the absolute floor. And again, that's if all things go horrible. Maeva's throwing picks left and right. The O-line doesn't gel. The defensive line can't generate pressure. But I struggled with the ceiling. I was going back and forth between 10-2 and 11-1. Like if this thing goes, it's like Mount St. Helens or something. If this thing blows, it's gonna blow, man. It's gonna get after it. And you could beat Michigan, that's trying to get the offense figured out, in the young quarterback. You could beat Notre Dame again with a young quarterback. Oregon. There's all these possibilities.
That's right.
I put 10-2. Finally, was my final ceiling. I'm worried about the pick problem that I see from Maeva, but we'll see.
But then
We'll see
again, there's still a little bit of a
there.
chance where you might get a different starting quarterback than what we think.
Yeah,
will be.
Very true.
You never know.
Very true. So there's a path there for if you're 10-2, you're USC, you're going to the playoffs.
Yep.
I have almost no doubt about that. Unless your losses are to fucking like Purdue, and you drop these 2 losses like one of the big ones, and then you lose to Purdue or something in a bad manner, like we saw last year with South Carolina getting left out, or Bama getting left out. It just depends. You cannot lose poorly. So let us know what you guys think. I'm really curious to see if you guys think you're making a playoff run this year. There's some hype on the Twitter sphere, so we're curious to see what you think. Trev, anything before we shut her down?
Just remember to go check us out on YouTube. Make sure you throw those comments in the chat on anything that we might have missed, or why don't you give us your prediction on what you think your USC Trojans will do this season?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. We want to hear from you. Thanks again for your time. We truly do appreciate it. We'll see you around.
Take care.